And good morning. Happy Sunday, y'all. Glad to be here. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope your Sunday is going good. And you got a little bit of shop time in this morning. This is the segment where we sit and wait for YouTube to send out all the notifications and everything, and just kind of settle in, let the software do its stuff. So if you're watching this on replay, just go ahead and scrub past this graphic, and we'll wait for the clock in the other room to finish striking the top of the hour. Then I'll reach over here to find the button, click it, and say, "Hey y'all, how you doing? Happy Sunday to you. Hope everything is going your way. Hope everybody is doing well." This morning is just a live Q&A, just an open Q&A. Any kind of questions you have about Vectric Software mainly. I'm getting a lot of emails. Again, I can't help you troubleshoot your machine. Every machine's a bit different. Every control system and control software is a bit different. And the only thing I know for sure is my control software and my control system. So if you're having trouble with your machine, contact your machine's manufacturer through their support page. That's the best way to go. They know your machine best. I can only guess. So, alrighty, let's see. We can go ahead and get into a few questions that we got here real early. This one kind of on a personal note from Bill Stauffer. Said this week they received a gift package from Harry and David. Are they close to you? Not personally, mainly because they both passed on, but the company is down the road from me about 14 miles from the house here. So yeah, Harry and David used to be one of the biggest employers in this county. Lots of orchards, and see, it was Harry and David, as well as Jackson Perkins. Jackson Perkins mainly flowers and rose bushes and things like shrubs, things like that. And then Harry and David is still here, and lots of agriculture. Lots of agriculture. Oh my God. Some of my first jobs were working in the pear orchards, lighting and cleaning smudge pots and things like that. Filthy work, but hey, when you're a kid, you'll take the money and run. Uh, let's see. Okay. His main question, though, is the V3M file Vectric's own format? Yes, it is. It is a 3D clip art file, a 3D model, if you will, that is compatible with Aspire and VCarve. So if you are given the option to download a file like from Design and Make, they offer a few different file formats. If you save in the V3M format, you can actually even load it into your clip art folder on your computer, so that model will come up in your clip art when you click on the clip art tab and go into clip art, what have you. As a matter of fact, I did a video on how to create custom clip art folders, and I'll link that in the description. If you download like a V3M file from Design and Make or somebody else, if you follow those instructions and find that folder, as I pointed out in that video, it'll come right up in your clip art folder when you open it up in the software. You don't have to go through the import screen or anything else. It loads just like any other piece of clip art would. But yes, V3M is Vectric's 3D model format. One of them. They have others too. But that one is compatible with Aspire as well as, that one is compatible with VCarve as well as Aspire. So let's see. Yeah, just wrote a note to myself to link that video. I'll put a link to that video in the description of this video as soon as we get done live here and it becomes just a standard video. So, yeah. Let's see here. We'll kind of cruise down a little bit here and get past the old classic TV Captain Kangaroo talk. Tommy Jaskulski, I think. We'll see if I butchered your name. Sorry about that. Opened the wallet this week and bought a Spire. Good. Welcome aboard. You will then also want to... Nice segue, by the way. You will also want to tune in to Michael Mazalik's video this afternoon. And while you're over there, subscribe to his channel. Michael is the 3D guru. If you go back to the beginning of his videos and work your way forward, you will learn 3D like you never thought you could. Believe me, he is the master. He's the guru. This afternoon, his video at, that'll be at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. He is doing easily the number one request I get. That is how to take a JPEG image and make a 3D model out of it. So, I'm going to be there. I wouldn't miss this one for the world. If you have Aspire, you need to be there this afternoon. There is already a link to that down in the description of this video. So you can right-click that link, open a new tab, and have it up and be ready to go when it premieres this afternoon at 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern. And again, go back and watch all of Michael's videos. He's the master. He's the guru. I'm here to tell you. So, but welcome aboard. So, let's see. Suicidal at All Times. Love that name still. How does one make a custom bit for side cuts to do thread cutting, if even possible, in version 9? I am not going to say that thread cutting is impossible in version 9, because I know that it is possible. I've never done it. I don't know how it's done, but there is a gentleman here on YouTube who has been thread cutting using VCard or Aspire, either one. I don't remember which right off the top of my head. And his videos are probably 5 or 6 years old. But here's the thing. I reached out to him and talked to him about it. He created his own post-processor to do that. And he had the tool custom made. From there, I don't know anything. His name, I will search out his channel, and you can try to reach out to him if you'd like. I don't recall his name. Herman Plachka or something to that effect. I will look him up and try to find a link. But my recommendation, to be honest with you, is to go ahead and upgrade. Upgrade to, if you upgrade now to 10.5, when version 11 comes out, and I don't know when it's going to come out, when version 11 comes out, it should be within the next 12 months, you'll get the free upgrade to version 11. So I would go ahead and upgrade to version 10.5 because all the thinking and figuring has been done for you. It's the hardest part about this thread milling toolpath that I've been finding is finding the tool. You can find a ton of tools out there that will cut a 1/4-20 thread. But if you want to create something like an Acme thread with a 1/8 inch pitch, it's kind of hard to find that tool. I think this is kind of a case where the software got ahead of the manufacturers, and the manufacturers don't know that they need to catch up. There's a lot of stuff out there for metal work, but those bits are off center. So they don't spin like a router bit should. They spin off center. It's an eccentric pattern. It's kind of weird. Um, I'm trying to find tools myself, which is why I haven't done anything on thread milling. And it's not that easy to find. So I would suggest you go ahead and upgrade to version 10, and then you're going to have the same problem everybody else has, and that is finding the right tool. So let's see. Let me kind of cruise down here. Dale Francis wants to know, do you have a video that shows how to put some clip art I have gotten from the internet into the Aspire software for later use? If you're talking about something like a V3M file, as I mentioned earlier, yes, I did do a video on that, and I'll put a link in the description of this video as soon as we're done here live. If it's something like an STL file, you will have to import that. And then in that video, I also show how to import an STL file and export it into a file format that you can put into your clip art file. So it is possible. As soon as we're done live, I will put that link in the description of this video. So let's see. Let me kind of cruise down the road here and see. Okay, Mr. Craig wants to know, can you recommend a good starter 1/4-inch bit set for someone just starting out? I cannot make a bit set. I cannot recommend a bit set, mainly because I don't buy bit sets. I find that not all, but most bit sets come with a bunch of bits you're never going to use, especially on a CNC machine. I buy bits as I need them or as I'm getting ready to start on a project. For instance, I've had these in here for a while now, 6mm 15-degree V-bits, and I buy them as I need them. I bought these to do inlays. As soon as I can get to the machine, I'm going to get out and I'm going to cut some inlays and do some videos on that process. I just haven't been able to get out there yet because I'm doing other projects right now. I did I don't know if you saw my video on my suggestions for bits for beginners. And I talk about 1/4-inch end mills and surfacing bits and V-bits and ball noses, things like that. And the description of that video is just jam-packed full of links. What I did was I linked the tool I use, then I linked one that's a little bit more expensive, then I linked one that's a little bit cheaper to let you comparison shop and make up your own mind. I don't really recommend brands because I find that unless you get into an industrial setting or you're doing a lot of high volume, if you're putting out 1,000 parts a week or something like that, the brand of the bit doesn't really matter all that much. If you're a hobbyist or a weekend warrior, spending $100 on a bit doesn't make a lot of sense if you're going to use it 3 times a month. A $20 bit will do the same job. That's just my opinion. Again, if you're into high volume or production work, then yes, it may pay you to go with the more expensive bit because you may be able to get twice as many parts before that bit either needs to be resharpened or retired, one or the other. So I'm not name brand loyal. I have everything from cheap bits I bought on eBay for $15 a 5-pack up to I think my single most expensive bit is like $75 an Amana bit from Tools Today. And I have not really noticed much of a difference in cut quality or durability. But then again, I'm not high volume and I'm not production. I'm a weekend warrior home hobbyist. So I will put a link to that bits video down in the description of this video as soon as we're done live here. And it's more about size and the job you're going to do. If your main focus is doing 3D carving, it doesn't make a lot of sense to buy thread milling bits and dovetail bits and things like that. If your main focus is going to be V carving and inlays, it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend a lot of money on tapered ball nose bits and flush cutters, surfacing bits rather, things like that. So I buy the tools as I need them. So let's see. Suicidal at All Times is talking about entering a bit in the tool database that has an undercut. The tool database will not accept any bit that creates an undercut. There are exceptions. What you have to do is you have to cheat the system and treat it as a straight bit. So if you're looking at a thread mill, for example, you have to treat it as a straight bit, but put it in the thread mill category. And the newer versions come with a couple of thread mills already entered into the database that you can get in and change it. So I would just highly suggest going ahead and going with upgrading the software. For more than just the thread milling, there is a tremendous difference between version 9 and version 10.5. There are a lot of other options and features. So let's see. Vapor Guerra, I guess, is saying the auto leveler is enough for a perfect carving. My sacrifice table isn't perfect. Try to get it as perfect as you can. Tram your router, meaning make it perpendicular to your x-axis travel, your gantry travel. Make it, you want it square in tilt and in nod front to rear. What you'll need to do is look for tramming your spindle. Do a search on YouTube or on just a Google search for tramming, Tramming, your spindle. And you'll find a ton of videos on how to do it. Every system is a little bit different. Every machine's a little bit different. But you'll want to use that. You'll want to try to get that spindle just as perfectly straight up and down as you can, then surface your spoil board. That's what's going to give you the best carve quality. And as far as a perfect carving, perfection is a subjective thing. It may never be 100% perfect. All you can do is go for the absolute best possible. Because, again, perfection is a subjective thing. Sargon Tavor, you are an overachiever, sir. Thank you very, very much for the super chat. I really, really do appreciate it. And while I'm at it, thank you to everybody who has given me the super chats and hit those donation buttons down in the description of my videos. I appreciate you guys more than you will ever know. I really, really do. You guys, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You guys are the best viewers on YouTube, the best subscribers I could ever ask for. And I really appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see. Joe of Wood Studio IA. If you want to use an engraving bit for a VCarve inlay project, do you put the engraving bit in the tool database as a VCarve bit or as an engraving bit, or does it even matter? I would enter the tool as it's supposed to be, as it is, as an engraving bit. Now, and for those who don't know, the main difference, there are a couple of others, but the main difference between an engraving bit and a V-bit is most engraving bits have a flat bottom edge cutter on them. They don't come down to a sharp point. That's not always the case, but that's the most common difference between a V-bit and an engraving bit. Enter it as a engraving bit, and then take a look at it. 99 times out of 100, the main reason you're using a V-bit for the inlay is for the side surfaces. You're not really looking at the bottom surface. So whether it comes to a point or it is flat across the bottom, enter it as an engraving bit. The software knows how deep to make it cut. So let's see here. Let's cruise along and see what we got going. Mark Jesse, I just bought a 5x10 machine and could use all the help I could get. Develop a close relationship with the manufacturer. They know your machine best. Hit their support pages. If they have a support forum, join it and use it. I mean, spend a few days, weeks, months, whatever it takes to get in there and learn it. And, read up on, because believe me, you don't have a question that hasn't already been asked. You will find either an answer there, or you can ask again if it's gone so far down the list that it's not close enough to find. But by Godfrey, yes. Let's see. Martin Pearson, is this live? Yes, it is. I'm just behind because I'm catching up on the questions. But we are mostly live. John Thompson says, how is Mr. Gatton doing? For those of you who don't know, Dave has been under the weather. He had a major medical issue that I'm not at liberty to discuss. It's not my place. And he's undergoing surgery. He is either undergoing or has undergone surgery this week. And, we're all just waiting to be updated on what's going on. The minute I get the word from him that I can go ahead and talk about it, I will. But Dave's a very private person. And the only reason anybody knows anything at all that he was even ill was because he felt he owed it to the people who talked to him every day to let them know he was kind of down for the count for a while, So as far as I know, he's doing all right. But I haven't received an update from him since Friday, I believe. So, okay. Is there a way with Aspire to do precise sized parts as in SketchUp? In what way? You can make vectors any size you want. I don't get what you mean by precise size parts. If you're looking for a 3-inch circle, you make a 3-inch circle. If you're making a 4-inch long line, you make a 4-inch long line. So, I mean, if you can kind of give me a little bit more there. Okay, let's see. Dave Matthews says the Magnate 796 bit works well for standard threads. Getting the clearance right is what takes some trial and error. I have a Magnate 796 bit here. I have two issues with the bit. Magnate bits are not bad. I've got a few. I have two issues with the bit. And one is that the angle is 90 degree. It should be 60 degree for most threads. The other is, look how long that bit is. You are really restricted by the length of the shank. You can't do a lot of threading with this. Now, why I have one of my collets in here, I don't know. But if you put that into the proper depth, look how much bit is hanging out of that collet. You're not going to get a lot of depth. Now, if you're just cutting the threads into a piece of 3/4 inch thick material, you're fine. But if you're trying to cut into something like 1.5 inches thick, you're not going to do it with this bit. Those are my issues with the Magnate 796. You may be able to get 3/4 inch deep threads. Maybe not. I really don't know. If it was a 60-degree angle and the shank was about 3/4 inch longer, 3/4 inch longer to 1 inch longer, are you listening to me, Magnate? Then they might be onto something. But as it sits right now, I'm not a huge fan of the 796 bit. So, let's see. Lane Byron. Anyone know how to array rectangles, and he gives a side here, 8 inches apart on the inside of a 78-inch diameter circle? Circular array. I've got a video on doing the circular array. You know what? And I need to update that because the software has changed. I'm not going to promise next week, but I will do a video on the circular array because some of that has changed. And the video I did a couple of years back, I want to say it was in version 8. So I'm not going to promise next week, Lane. I did do a video on how to use the circular array in VCard Pro a couple of years back, and I will put a link to that video in the description of this as soon as we're finished going live here. But I can't promise next week, but I do need to update that video. I need to change it. So let's see now here. John Kroger says, other than resurfacing your bed, is there any occasion when you would use the machine's surface and not the material surface for the Z0 position? There are plenty of occasions, and in fact, this is one of those personal preference things. Sometimes there is no best. It's down to personal preference. I know some folks, Peter Pasuelo over at CNC Nuts YouTube channel being one of them, he prefers to set all of his XYZ zeros from the machine bed rather than the material surface. And that is setting the Z0 to the machine bed will give you an accurate zero no matter what kind of variations you have in the material surface. 0 will always be 0. An inch above 0 will always be an inch above 0. Setting to the material surface, if there's any variation in that material surface, it will be off a little bit. And some folks will find that a V carving, for instance, will be deeper in one area and shallow in another area. Now, there's many variables there, but it could very well be the surface of your material is not flat, and there is a variation there. Now, I'm not saying setting a Z0 at the machine bed will cure that problem, but on like a profile cut or something like that, if you set your 0 to the machine bed, the chances of it cutting down into your spoil board are reduced, depending upon the G-code and how deep you wanted it to cut. There are a lot of variations. There is really no best. It's 100% up to you. Some people prefer to set their Z0 to the machine bed, and some people prefer to set it to the material surface. I prefer to set it to the material surface. I don't baby my spoil board. I figure it's there to get cut up and carved up, then resurfaced, so that's what I do. And I haven't had an issue with it. So, you know, it's as far as there ever being a need, I don't think it's really a need. I think it's a preference. So I may be wrong. I mean, you know, there are plenty of people in here who are experienced with the CNC and they could give you a little bit more insight than I could. I just set to the material surface because I prefer to do it that way. There's less math. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, Dale Francis, is there a video that shows how to add a tool to the Aspire database and get the shape of the tool with it? Some of my bits are off-brand and the manufacturer does not have a database to copy from. I don't have a video on it, but what you can do is measure the bit. Measure all the contours, measure the shapes and what have you, and either draw them into Aspire or lay the bit down on the piece of paper. I find on the edge of a table works, and trace the bit. Then scan that in or take a photo of it, do a bitmap tracing. You just need the profile of the right-hand side of the bit. Then you can use that vector. Or another option is find a bit that's similar that you can find a database file for or a vector for, and import that vector, modify those vectors to the shape or the length or the sizes, then join that up to that one open vector of the right hand side and import that or use that to create the bit. I do have a video on what's it called, add a form tool. Uh-oh, pen. Okay, my pen officially ran out of ink. All right. And I will put a link to that in the description box below. In that video, I added a roundover bit, and I kind of describe how to trace it, but you can find other vectors that are similar and just adjust those vectors to the size and shape that you need and use that vector to import it. Let's see. Going down the list. New to CNC, what is the latest Aspire version and how often does Vectric upgrade the software? The latest version is version 10.5, and here lately they've been upgrading roughly once a year, but there are exceptions to that. They upgrade when they have enough improvements that require an upgrade. The upgrade from version 8 to 9 was about 3, maybe 4 years, I want to say. But version 10.5 is the current version right now. They will probably be updating to version 11. I don't know when that's coming. But the Vectric user group meeting is in September in San Diego, California. And the key speaker, the key presentation at that user group meeting is going to be the new features in version 11. So if they're going to be talking about the new features in version 11, it's either going to be released by then or very, very close to it. So if you're thinking about upgrading to the newest version, I would definitely do it now, because I think that if any time within the next 12 months they release version 11, you will get the free upgrade, because that's how Vectric rolls. If you purchase a version of their software and they come up with an upgrade in the next 12 months, you will get a free copy of that upgrade. So you will get that upgrade for free. So I don't think there's an some people try to time it. So, well, am I going to be within 12 months? Your guess is as good as mine, but I personally think there is no bad time to upgrade if you're going to do it. So, Dennis, I would go ahead. If you're thinking about getting the software, get it. Get it. So, let's see. Okay, Lane Byron says, thanks, tried that. The rectangles did not remain tangent. They kept the same angle as the first one all around the circle. And that is one check mark that's in the, you're talking about the circular array. That is one checkbox that's in the circular array function. And again, I think, I'm not going to promise it, but I think I will update that circular array video this week. We'll see what happens. So that may be next week's video. So let's see. Mark Jesse said, I bought a machine with Mach 4 and Aspire and don't have a clue yet. Okay, I can't help you with Mach 4. I've never used it. I use Mach 3. I don't know what's different in Mach 4. I'm sticking with Mach 3 because I have the license, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It works. It does what I need it to do. If it comes to it and I have to upgrade, I will. But I'm using Mach 3 and it works fine for me. For Aspire, if you look down in the description box of this video or any of my videos, you'll find a link to my Vectric for the Absolute Beginner playlist. Start in the basement with episode 1, part 1 rather. Work your way through and you'll be an old pro before you know it. Just know there are 50 videos in that series. I'm coming up on close to 300 videos on my channel, so that's why it takes me a while to remember what I put something in and go find it and then link it in the description. So you will find a Vectric for the Absolute Beginner playlist link down in the description, and you will find a V carving for the Absolute Beginner playlist. The V carving is 4 parts, and Vectric is 50 parts. So, do it. Let's see. Let's go here. Ma21 or MA21. Is there a quick way to correct the start point? Sometimes it's way off the material. I don't understand what you're talking about. If you can, in the software, you can go into node editing and make just about any point, I believe. Yeah, any point in the vector, the start point. If you're talking about outside on the machine, that comes down to wherever you're setting your X, Y, and Z 0. So, okay, let's see. Richard Poulin says, hi Mark, did a pocket, finished with a profile toolpath inside the vector, then cut another piece the same size, but outside the vector to fit in, and it came out 1/8 of an inch smaller. Any idea why? The diameter of your bit. The radius of your bit. If it came out 1/8 of an inch smaller, I'm betting you used a 1/4 inch end mill. So when you cut outside, then cut inside, the easy way to do that is use the inlay toolpath, because it will take into account not only the radius corners, but you tell it, I'm going to make the male or I'm going to make the female, and it will adjust the toolpath to prevent that from happening. So I know that doesn't help you now, but that's basically. Let's see, Mark John, do you plan on doing any live streams machining on projects in the new wood shop? Probably not live streams, because with a router or spindle running, that's all you would hear. I do plan on doing the live streams from the shop as soon as I get some insulation up and it's not so echoey in there. So, excuse me. Right now, it's an empty building and the sound is just so echoey. It's not even fun. You can't understand a word I'm trying to say. And I tried a couple of recordings out there and it just ain't working. But I do plan on doing these live Q&As from the shop shed as soon as I get out there. Thank you for the good segue. The shop shed status is it's on hold until I can get insulation and a few other things. A lot of people, you know about the lumber. You know about how the prices of lumber have just gone absolutely bananas lately. Check a few other things. I don't know if you've done any electrical work lately, but the price of standard Romex wire for wiring, like, wiring your house or a shop or something like that, has doubled. The prices of everything plastic, and I'm talking PVC, I'm talking plastic sheet, all of that stuff is going up, and it's getting harder and harder to get your hands on because the raw materials to make the chemicals involved in producing those products are getting harder and harder to get a hold of. The building was designed and built to be non-ventilated and was designed to be used with spray foam insulation. And the spray foam that I'm going with is Dow Chemical Froth Pack. Dow Chemical, one of the biggest companies in the world, can't get their hands on the raw materials to make that urethane foam, the two-part products. So they're not shipping it right now. I have tried for the last 4 weeks to order the insulation because it's finally warm enough to do. Every supplier is out of stock. I know a couple of people who are in the business who make insulation products. They can't get a hold of the raw materials. They're closing down and laying people off. PVC pipe is going to go up. Conduit is going to go up. Plastic conduit, that is. Anything to do with any kind of a resin or polyurethane, like foam rubber, that's going up because they can't get their hands on the chemicals to create the product. So we're on hold until that happens. I'm getting ready to pull the trigger on the stuff to do the flooring because it is in stock, so I can get that done anyway. And then as quick as I can get the insulation, I'll get that sprayed in. Wall coverings we'll address when we get there. But right now the shop shed is on hold, so I'm doing some landscaping projects for the wife. So let's see. Let's see here. Chris Leach says, when you bring an STL file into VCard or Aspire, it creates what appears to be a height map. Exactly. It's bitmap-based modeling, for lack of a better term. It creates a height map. So when you are in Aspire, you can save that in a 3D clip file that will load into your clip art database that you can save for later on. That's in Aspire. I'm not certain about VCarve. I don't think that you can do that in VCarve. I think you have to import it each time you use it, but I may be wrong. So let's see. Chris Leach, yes. Clip art files appear to be height maps, correct? Yes, they are. There are many ways to arrive at an STL file to export into Vectric, so it seems like an interesting workaround for generating new clip art. Again, in Aspire, you can do that. You can, and that's what I mean. I'll be putting the link to the clip art video in the description of this video because I demonstrate that. So let's see. Get here. Mark Jesse says it's a homemade machine. I can't find any manufacturer's name, and the guy I bought it from was zero help. Sorry to hear that. For Mach 4 help, go to ArtSoft, Newfangled Solutions, I believe it is. Google Mach 4 support forum. Those guys are wizards with it. The Mach 4 and the Mach 3 forums are on the same website. The guy who designed the software, the guy who invented it, is a member there. And believe me, if he can't answer it, you don't have an issue. But go hit the, look for Mach 4 support forum, and you'll find it. He's the guy that can help you with Mach 4. As far as the machine itself, you might go to CNC Zone, which is another CNC forum. I'm not an electronics guy. They may be able to help you with drivers and power supplies and breakout boards and such, so that you can get your machine up, running, and moving along. But other than that, very sorry. I only know my machine. I don't know what you have. I don't know, do you have NEMA 34 motors, servos, or something else? So, let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to get caught up here. Trying to get caught up. Let's go here. Let's see here. Mark John says, are there thread mills for wood? I've used them a lot for machining metal. Thread mills specifically for wood, I don't think so. A lot of folks are using double angle cutters, which is what? Excuse me. Is it double angle? I think it's double angle is what they call them, which is basically what the Magnate 796 is the double angle cutter. And there are some, single thread profile machining bits, STMP bits, or PM bits, STMP or SDPM, whatever, that are being used. And that's fine. Again, the problem is those are made for certain pitches, and they're not compatible with, because let's face it, quarter 20 threads in a piece of wood may or may not work for you. But for most things, if you're making a screw top box that's 6 inches in diameter, you don't want quarter 20 threads on that box. That needs something large. That needs like an Acme thread with maybe 8 threads per inch or something like that. Because you're not going to be threading an inch of that material. You're going to put maybe 3 threads on it, so you can screw it like 90, maybe 180 degrees, and it's closed. You're not going to be making something watertight out of wood. So basically, thread mill specifically for wood, again, I think the manufacturers need to catch up on that. So, Chris Leach is asking about the clip art and the STL file import. Once you save it in Aspire, if you save it as a 3D clip file, you can put it straight into your clip art folder, and it is available next time you go. I don't think you can do that in VCard. Let's see. Martin Pearson says if it were a 60-degree angle and longer, it would be 3 times the price. Maybe, maybe not. You can get, I don't remember what this magnate bit cost, but you can find some of those, the single thread, the STMP or STPM bits that I was just talking about for $60. I mean, no, it's not cheap, but it's not outrageous. I mean, some of these things, some of those bits start at $250 and go up. So, I mean, and let's face it, this is an expensive hobby. So if $60 for a bit is a deal breaker, you know, what can I say? There are cheaper hobbies to get into. This is an expensive hobby. There's a lot of money that goes out in the machine, the software, the materials and everything. If you are going to be doing a lot of threads, you know, don't try to fake it. Get the right thing. So let's see. And I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to be the bad guy here. I'm just facing reality. And believe me, I'm looking. I've been wanting to do wood threading for, oh gosh, years. So, you know, I've looked into the possibility of having somebody make carbide cutters for me to put on something similar to a drawbar, you know, so that I could cut an outside thread or an inside thread, but have something long enough to be of value, so that if you wanted to thread something that was 2 inches thick, you could. I just haven't gotten there yet. So, let's see. Aaron Hansen says, how the heck does one properly measure a bit to fit the tool database? Freehand the vectors. For instance, on a roundover bit, you know, you have a straight line that goes down the right edge. Then it makes that arc, that roundover. Measure that straight edge, measure the radius, measure the depth of that cut, and where does it go from there? Does it go down to a point? Does it go to a flat cutter on the bottom? Freehand those vectors and, you know, cut the vector at the correct points. Measure those segments with calipers, a machinist scale, whatever you've got to use. I mean, I'm sitting here, I got a machinist scale right here, I got my calipers here, I've got all kinds of stuff. Measure those vectors, measure those angles, measure those radii, and adjust those vectors to where they fit that bit. And then enter it. Or join those vectors and use that to enter the bit into the machine, or to the tool database. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, let's see here. We're looking at 1252. Let's see. P. Todd says, enjoy your videos. Thank you. Helpful and informative. Thank you. Do you work in Fusion 360 at all, or mostly in VCard? I don't work in Fusion 360 at all. I have it. I tried to learn it a couple of times. Decided that the learning curve was too steep for me. That may sound funky to some, and I never revisited it. I bought VCard Pro version 8.0, however many years back that was, and have never looked back. I now use Aspire 10.5 and will be upgrading to version 11 as soon as it comes out. But no, I don't do anything with Fusion 360. So, let's see. Trying to... Oh boy, let's see. P. Todd says, just pulled the trigger on an Avid CNC. Congrats. Golf clap. I want to be like you when I grow up. And I'm spending the next 15 weeks learning all I can about Fusion 360 and VCard Pro. Well, did your machine come with VCard Pro? Because if it did, get into the Vectric for the Absolute Beginner series and start learning it. Uh-oh. Sound problems? Boy. I am having sound problems. And okay, let's see here. I'm gonna kind of, yeah, I'm roboting again. Okay, I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Then I'm sorry, I didn't realize it. I was scrolled up so far. Uh, Let me try one thing real quick here before I just end this. We just tried a hard reset on the mic. Let's see if that worked. You can tell me if that worked if you would, please. Don't know. Oh, good. Bald spot cam. So let me go back over here and see. Did that work? Let me see, did that work? Bald spot cam. I'm looking at my... Okay. All right. Perfect. I was going back and looking at the video. Sweet. Okay. Yeah, Steve Perdue, I noticed this happens about 45 minutes into your videos. Yeah, you're right. It does, and now I don't know what's going on. But unplug the USB, plug it back in, and it comes up just great. Okay, well, we're I should probably go ahead and shut this, or excuse me, end this anyway, because we've been going for 56 minutes. And that's enough for anybody. If I did not get your question, please put it in the comment section down below. Please. If I didn't get to it, I will try to get to it next week. And in fact, I want to start doing that. If I didn't get to your question, put it in the comments. And from now on, what I'll do is when we go live, I will go ahead and hit the comment section of the previous live stream and answer questions there. And then get to your live questions. So, once again, on the Dave Gatton update, he is in the hospital still. He was scheduled for surgery this week or early next week. So it's either happened or is going to happen. And as soon as I have something to update, I will let you guys know. He does need the prayers and good wishes of everybody. It was a pretty major event. And I know he appreciates it. I will do, as soon as we're finished and I end the stream, I will get these clips, or these links rather, put down in the description box of this video. And again, I hope to see you all in about an hour from now over at Michael Mazalik's video. He's going to be taking a JPEG picture and turning it into a 3D model. You guys have been asking me for this for months, years. Who am I kidding? Michael is going to finally open the vault and show off the secrets. So I'll see you over there for sure. Thank you to Sargon Tavur for the super chat. Thank you to everybody who has hit those donate links down in the description box of all of my videos. Thank you again for being the best viewers that a guy could ever hope for. We'll see you next week. So for now, y'all take care. Now go do something cool. Then come, let's watch Michael's video. See you over there. Have a good one.